Hi everybody, welcome to Yagya VM. So in today's video, we will solve the NTSC paper 2017-18. Which one of the following statements is not true? So it is about Rajaram Mohan Roy. So let us see what is asked here. Option A, Rajaram Mohan Roy was a king. Rajaram Mohan Roy was the founder of Brahmo Samaj. Rajaram Mohan Roy was a socialist reformer, social-religious reformer, and Rajaram Mohan Roy supported the abolition of the practice of sati. So basically, Rajaram Mohan Roy was a king. This is false. Why? Because he was actually a social-religious reformer, but he was given the title of a king by Akbar. Akbar II. Okay, Akbar II gave him the title of a king. Okay, so this is something you have to remember. He was actually not a king. Who accords recognition to a newly formed political party? Okay, so a newly formed political party can be recognized by whom? So the correct answer is the Election Commission of India. The next question, which of the following added the fundamental duties to our constitution? So by the 42nd Amendment Act 1976, fundamental duties were added to our constitution. Initially, there were 10 fundamental duties. Later in the year 2003, with the 86th amendment, that means it is totally for you guys. That means the right to education. Okay, the right to education was started, and by the 86th amendment a fundamental duty was inserted, the 11th fundamental duty, which said it is the duty of the parents or the guardians to educate the children between 6 to 14 years of time. Okay, also the fundamental right was also amended here, because in article 21, right to life, a new article was inserted, article 21A, which is right to education, right? So these things are very, very important. Please remember all of these. Right to education, 21A article, it is under the right to life and personal liberty. It was done by the 86th Amendment Act 2003, and initially there were 10 fundamental duties. 11th was inserted by this amendment. Getting my point? And by the 42nd amendment, fundamental duties were actually inserted in the constitution. They were not previously existing. So it was done by the Indira Gandhi government when the country was in the plight of emergency. Okay, national emergency was there in India, imposed from 1975 to 1977. Okay, during this time the people demanded their fundamental rights. So Indira Gandhi imposed some duties also to the citizens, that rights can be given to the citizens if the citizens also have some duties, right? So that is how by the 42nd amendment fundamental duties came into picture, and it came by the Swaran Singh committee. This is also something you have to remember. The Swaran Singh committee, he was basically a cabinet member, and he was appointed by Indira Gandhi to make this framework of fundamental duties and then add them to the constitution. I hope my point is very, very clear. If you are facing any problem with the understanding of these things, you can please let me know in the comment section. Okay, so I'll try to help you with the best possible solution. Okay, so you can tell me that. Next question, let us see, by whom the Vice President of India is elected? So elected members of parliament, all members of the parliament, members of Rajya Sabha, elected members of the state legislative assembly. So basically, see, every year there is a question from the election of either the president or the vice president. So vice president is basically elected by all the members of the parliament. Okay, that means the elected members also, the nominated members also. Okay, so all the members of the parliament means all the members of Lok Sabha, all the members of the Rajya Sabha. Getting my point? Okay. Second thing is that here the state legislatures or the union territory state legislatures are not involved. Okay, but in the case of a president, they are also involved. Next question, which of the following mentions the DPSP, Directive Principles of State Policy, is mentioned in which article? So the correct answer is article 36 to 51. Next question, which of the following is a challenge to national integration? The correct answer is regionalism. Okay, so if regionalism prevails, for example, we are saying ki we are a state of Odisha, so here only the Odia people will live, some other people from the other states cannot live, or even if some facility is given by the government, so the first preference will be given to only the people of Odia, not the other one. So it means a kind of regionalism is done. Okay, so this will be a challenge to the national integration basically. Okay, regionalism shouldn't be promoted. Okay, until it is very, very essential. For example, if there is a particularly vulnerable tribal groups, okay, PVTG, Some tribal groups are there who are very, very old, some 10,000 old tribal groups are there, but it is very essential to preserve their culture. Why? Because very few are left. For example, only 1 to 180 tribal people are left, so it is very, very essential to preserve them. Okay, so in that case we can say that in this area they should be preserved, they should be protected, they should be given all the facilities. But otherwise regionalism is a threat to national integration, so option B is correct here. Next, to see which of the following is a national political party. So the chapter of political party of class 10 is actually omitted. Okay, still I will explain you this topic. So basically there are all the political parties that are recognized in India are totally 7. Okay, first is All India Trinamool Congress, then Bahujan Samajwadi Party, BJP Bharatiya Janata Party, CPI, okay, Communist Party of India, CPIM यानी कि Communist Party of India Marxist, then INC Indian National Congress, the oldest political party of India, set up in the year 1885, then NCP means Nationalist Congress Party. So all of these are the national parties of India. So here from the question you can make out, so basically the option C is correct. Next question we have to see, when was the financial emergency declared in India? So financial emergency was declared in India never. Okay, understanding. So we have 3 times. Okay, we have 3 times declared the national emergency. Okay, national emergency was declared 3 times. Getting my point? Okay, financial emergency never, and the president rule somewhat 490 or even more than that. Okay, getting my point? So these many times the emergencies have been declared in India. Do remember, financial emergency is never declared in India, right? So the last question of the day, from which of the following countries the concept of independence of judiciary has been borrowed in India? So if you have heard about USA, USA is basically a coming together federation of 50 states, right? And all these states have their own Supreme Court, plus USA has its one Supreme Court for the entire country. Getting my point? Okay, it has for the entire country one Supreme Court. Okay, so every Supreme Court of every state, they have some independence. Okay, they are supreme there. And the Supreme Court of USA, see, try to understand my point. There is one Supreme Court for the entire country, and also in the 50 states, each states have their own Supreme Court. Getting my point? So which have an independent judiciary. That means what? Their case cannot be referred to the Supreme Court of USA. Okay, the Supreme Court of USA takes the matter only of the constitutional importance. Okay, only if the constitutional interpretation is required. In that case, USA Supreme Court will take the matter into consideration, otherwise it won't. Okay, the other matters, like for example individual matter, criminal cases, civil cases, the apex body is the Supreme Court of that particular state, not the USA Supreme Court. That means what? There is an independence of judiciary at every level as well as in the country as a whole. So this concept has been borrowed in India from USA, right? But in India, however, our judiciary is integrated. Okay, we are not particularly independence of judiciary. We do not follow this independence of judiciary. We are integrated judiciary. Why? See, in any case we have this hierarchy. Okay, in any case we have this hierarchy. So this is the judiciary, right? It is a wide base. Okay, it has a wide base, and at the apex level we have the Supreme Court. Getting my point? Then the High Court, and then there is a wide base of the subordinate courts. Okay, there is a wide base of the subordinate courts. Okay, for example, a criminal case will first go to a Supreme Court, then it can be referred to a High Court also, then it can also go to the Supreme Court. Getting my point? A civil case, similarly, civil case can go to the High Court, can also go to the Supreme Court. Okay, so that means what? Our judiciary is integrated. Okay, there is no independence of power here. Okay, getting my point? Okay, but this thing is not in the USA. So USA has a very independent judiciary. So friends, we have come to the end of this informative session. I have solved for you the NTSC 2017 paper of Odisha, and I hope all of you crack the examination. So all the best, and all my students, I wish you all the best for your future, right? Thank you everybody, and have a nice day.